Hi everybody, this is Noel at Well Coach Co-UK. This session is the performance lifestyle. Unlock the code to live in a healthy lifestyle successfully, indefinitely and effortlessly with John Allen Mollenhauer. And here's the thing, the typical fitness approach pretty much right now is to find the perfect diet or find the perfect training method. And yet the problem with that is that most people are still dropping out within about 3 months due to motivation, due to time, boredom, and a whole range of excuses. So the performance lifestyle is a whole new approach, and John is one of the key pioneers of it. And essentially, if you're moving from an unhealthy lifestyle to a healthy lifestyle, it impacts all dimensions of your life. And in which case, you need to take into account all dimensions of your life. John is one of the most visionary people I know in the fitness industry, because he was talking about this at least 10 years ago when Atkins was at its height, and since then he's been perfecting it because he's also one of the most passionate people I know in the fitness industry, because this has almost become a lifelong passion, hasn't it, John? So welcome to the call.
No, it's great to be here, and I love the way you introduced the idea of a performance lifestyle, because it's really about how you live a healthy lifestyle successfully. And most people have no clue as to how to live a healthy lifestyle successfully, other than to get into overly structured diet and exercise programs, many of which are unhealthy and unsustainable. So the whole concept of performance lifestyle is developing a lifestyle that works for you, and there are many different proficiencies in a performance lifestyle, two of which are two that people are very familiar with, eating and exercise. So,
and they're but two, aren't they, John? They're but two, aren't they? So how did it come about? Where did it originate from?
Well, it actually started out in the UK and Scotland. I had been searching for an idea that was big enough to be able to communicate the broader array of lifestyle skills that healthy, high-achieving people actually know and live by. That went way beyond just diet and exercise alone, but communicated the best strategies in those aspects of our lifestyles. So I had discovered this idea in elite athletics. The Brits and the Scots were way ahead, and it was what was really so interesting about it was they were making huge strides in professional athletics because of this idea called performance lifestyle. And when I discovered it, I realized, hey, you don't have to be into elite athletics to learn how to manage your energy, and your food quality and activity levels to be to perform at very high levels and to achieve your goals. You don't even have to be in sports, and you don't even have to be a fitness enthusiast. So exactly. I knew I'd come back.
Yeah, and it's very much cycling too, wasn't it? Because your background is like a mountain biker, and of course I'm triathlon. And in which case, those were the guys that really had the most success with this sort of, way of training, way of eating, way of living.
Yeah, the UK cycling team went from like last to first simply by actually developing performance lifestyles in addition to their training.
You got it. And so the central theory is, obviously, an athlete, they've got their main goal, whether it's the Olympics, whether it's the World Champs, whatever, and they're directing all their efforts towards that. What you're saying, John, is the same for anybody in life, particularly today in a very busy, highly distracting world, if you like, where we've got so many choices and, on the other hand, problems, etc., etc. It's very easy to sort of go off course. Essentially, what you're saying is we've also got to direct all our efforts towards what our main goals are in life.
Absolutely. The purpose of your lifestyle is to achieve your goals. That is the core definition of lifestyle. It's not what you own, what you wear, and what you can afford. Those are secondary and tertiary definitions of lifestyle. At the very core, it's about making sure that you've got the proficiencies to achieve your goals, because that's what your lifestyle is. So in a performance lifestyle, we stay very healthy. By the same token, we wake up focused on our success by making sure that we can function and perform well. And the 12 proficiencies of a performance lifestyle, one of which we're going to get into a good deal of depth on today, which is nutrient-rich eating, is...
Right, okay. So take us through just like an overview of the 12 sort of proficiencies, if you like, just for a performance lifestyle, because you said it's more than just exercise, it's more than just sort of fitness. Just a brief overview, just to give us the big bird picture.
Sure. There are 12 proficiencies of performance lifestyle, and again, these are lifestyle skills that all fit into a certain context. A performance lifestyle is not about all aspects of your life. It's about what skills, what proficiencies, lifestyle proficiencies you need to be great at in order to achieve your goals with your well-being intact. So for example, here are some of the 12 proficiencies. One, getting free of personal energy debt. This is an insidious idea or condition, I should say, around energy that you can't see and you can't touch, yet it undermines everybody.
So take us through energy debt, John. What do you mean by that? Are we all in
Energy
debt?
debt? Yeah, most people are in energy debt, and it is one of the biggest hidden lifestyle challenges that most people experience, and that is rarely, if ever, diagnosed, simply because most health practitioners don't even have a term for it. But it's basically when you've been overspending your vital energy for long periods of time, and you're basically always up against the wall. Your battery is so depleted, your energy reserves are so depleted that even a good night's sleep doesn't even solve your problem.
And of course, most people don't get a good night's sleep anyway, do they?
And most people don't even get a good night's sleep. So they're so steeped in energy debt, they're so out of balance energetically that it undermines basically all other lifestyle activities.
Yeah. And then, of course, they said, okay, now you're going to go like on a detox diet. Now you're going to train really hard, and yet they're already in energy debt, aren't they?
So you're in energy debt. Now you're going to eat less of your food, and now you're going to exercise more of a fatigued body. And you wonder why people fail. They don't fail because they're unmotivated. They fail because they don't have the energy to do it. And nobody, and everybody listening to this call, like really think about this. Nobody ever ate a bowl of broccoli or a peach or an apple or a pear and had their energy just fly off the wall. The only way you ever gain energy by eating food is when you're really, really haven't eaten in a long period of time and you're genuinely have low blood sugar. Other than that, you eat the food and you just move forward. The energy that people are suffering from, or the lack of, is vital energy. And that they do not know how to manage, and that they do not know how to increase. And exercise is going to stimulate you. It's going to give you the feeling of more energy, and it will make your body more efficient. But it does not increase your energy.
Got it.
Not off that.
So that's one component. What other components are there of an overall performance lifestyle?
Well, another one is having enough support. If you get back to where performance lifestyle originated from, it was really a support service so that these elite athletes could sustain their training and win in their sport. You've got to set up an environment where you've got enough support, because if you don't have enough support, you're most certainly going to be living way out of balance and you're going to go right back into energy debt.
Yeah. And that's just key, isn't it? The people we hang around, they're going to affect us. You've heard you become like your 5 most popular friends. Classic sort of
saying. Although it's a little bit more than that. It's an actual support. It's not only philosophical support, but it's structural support. It's functional support. Because if you're driven to overspend your energy every day because of lack of various kinds of support, you're just not you're not going to make it. At least not with your health and well-being intact.
Right. Okay. And that's the key word again, isn't it? Your well-being intact, your health intact.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And the third fundamental is the level of balance that you're actually able to maintain in your life. You can only maintain a high level of balance to the degree that you've got enough support for it.
Yeah.
So, for example, somebody who's jet setting around the country, that person needs a lot of support if they're gonna stay healthy and achieve their goals.
Yeah. And of course, balance is a bit of a myth at the same time, isn't it? It's a bit like chasing a butterfly. It's kind of elusive. It's like an idea.
I love the way you said that.
It's an ideal, isn't it? But but it is obviously something we all kind of want. We want to be able to have lots of balls in the air, but to feel like it's all under control.
Well, you bring up a very good point, which is balance isn't a goal. No more than weight loss. These are side effects. These are qualities of our life when we live it right, when we've got the proficiencies to navigate it right. Balance is a byproduct. It's not a goal.
Yeah.
Our goals are in life, they're in business, they're in sport. How we achieve those goals, if we do it with the right fundamentals in place, you'll experience balance. But you don't experience balance as a goal.
Got it.
It'll be so elusive, you never catch a butterfly.
So we've got energy debt, we've got balance. Let's go through some of these other sort of perspectives.
You've got energy debt, you've got support, you've got balance. You need a supportive internal psychology.
Right. That's
And
that's the self-talk. We all have this like an inner critic in our head.
that's correct. And many people have learned, gotten a taste of this through things like law of attraction
Yeah.
and positive psychology and Tony Robbins and a lot of other things. But it's, telling a supportive story and having supportive internal psychology is it's slightly different than that. It's all of those things and more, because it's really about storying your life around what it is you want in life, not necessarily telling stories about what you don't want or what you don't like, because all that is beating the drum that keeps getting you more of the same.
Yeah.
So we have to have positive stories. We have to have supportive stories. Supportive stories are not always positive, but we need to have them, around the way we eat, the way we manage our energy, around our fitness, around our goals, around, frankly, everything you can frankly conceive of.
Okay. And what's your take on exercise? Where does that fit into your performance lifestyle?
Well, exercise really kicks off incredibly well when you know what's driving you, when you understand and are very clear about your life situation, so you know where it's going to fit in, when you're not overwhelmed and are in a constant need to streamline and simplify, because you don't actually get to exercise until you've got the space and time usually to do it. So I've just riddled off a couple more fundamentals of performance lifestyle. So if you don't know what's motivating you, and you're unclear of your life circumstances, and you're overwhelmed by too much, and you're working out, you're working 7 days a week, you're never really going to get into what we call the 3 core essentials of a performance lifestyle, okay? Which are principles 9, 10, and 11, which are recharging your life force, eating a nutrient-rich diet, and activating and strengthening your body, which is the exercise that you're talking about.
Yeah.
If all these other proficiencies that we've just talked about are not working for you, and you're just living way out of balance, and you're basically going into a downward spiral, running out of energy, you're not going to have any success with getting better sleep or recharging your energy or eating successfully or training consistently. And isn't that, Noel, pretty much what everybody struggles with?
Exactly it. Because let's recap, because we've gone through a lot of material in a very short sort of space of time. Essentially, the performance lifestyle is directing all your efforts and energies towards specific goals in life and knowing what they are, and then having sort of got that as a vision, if you like, you then break that down into core skill sets that people need to have. And
yeah, it's really. Let me clarify that point you just said before we move on. It's about how you manage to spend and recuperate your energy, including the quality of the food and that you eat and your activity levels in the process of achieving your goals in, say, life, business, or sport. It's how you do that, which is your lifestyle, in the process of achieving your goals, that determines whether or not you're living a performance lifestyle or not.
Got it. Okay, so that's just for somebody listening. This is, is an entirely new approach for them. I'm just trying to think what's the key takeaway before we sort of move on, because I know the key cornerstone of it is actually nutrient-rich eating, isn't it? And we're going to talk about
the cornerstone of the lifestyle is nutrient-rich eating. When most people start to change their lifestyle, they change the way they eat first. But the bottom line of a performance lifestyle is that you've got to learn how to manage your personal energy. If you do not know how to manage your personal energy, I can teach you everything you want to know about nutrient-rich eating, and you will still feel out of balance.
Got it. So let's move on then to talk about nutritional excellence, which I think is a fantastic concept, isn't it? This whole nutrient-rich approach to eating. Where did that originate from, and where are you now working with people with it? How do they take to it? How easy do they find it?
Well, first of all, one of the bonuses that we're going to give away to people listening to this call is going to be a copy of The Nutrient-Rich Way to Eat.
Brilliant.
So anybody listening, you're going to get your hands on some real gold. The Nutrient-Rich Way to Eat was born of a number of different movements towards a more plant-based, nutrient-rich diet style, where we're getting the maximum amount of nutrients for the least amount of calories. In most cases, not all cases, and as a result, really begin to experience 5 benefits, which is 1, maintain our health and not promote chronic illness.
Yeah.
2, to get our needs met so that we're not consistently driven to overconsume food.
That's cravings, to control cravings as well. And
Correct.
And just a quick one on health. I mean, you can drop sort of calcium out the diet, and it's going to lead to osteoporosis later in life, isn't there? So a lot of these diets to lose weight, they are effective in the short term, but more often than not, they are likely to lead to longer-term health consequences, but much later in life. And of course, they fly over the head of most people's radar because they're so obsessed just with losing weight.
90% of the diets out there are nutrient poor. They're just nutrient poor just right off the bat. So whether we're talking calcium or any other nutrient, Noel,
just an
most
example.
people are not. They're not getting the nutrients they need to succeed, so they're not able to function and perform well, like we've been talking about. From a dietary point of view, their bodies begin to dysfunction, and whenever the body doesn't get its needs met, it will be driven to continue eating food, whether it's nutrient rich or nutrient poor. They will until it gets its needs met. It will be driven to consume food. Yeah. So if you're eating a nutrient poor diet, you cannot be successful.
Yeah, and it's something I'm always asking myself, what am I craving? Why am I craving that? And sometimes, am I craving that just because I'm tired anyway and it's got nothing to do with food? But that's where you've got a more all-encompassing sort of performance lifestyle that you talk about. Okay, so John, so I interrupt you. You've got the health perspective. You've also got the second one was, just remind me once more, cravings, protect against cravings, wasn't it? Okay.
Well, no, it was about living at or near your ideal weight.
Okay.
The only way you can live at or near your ideal weight and stay healthy at the exact same time is to eat a nutrient-rich diet. A nutrient-rich diet does not promote cravings because cravings are usually withdrawal symptoms for foods that shouldn't have been in your body to begin with. No one craves a peach. Okay, they have a desire for carbohydrate and sugar, but they don't crave it. Cravings are usually withdrawal symptoms like salt, sugar, oil, fat, etc. So once that kind of stuff is out of your diet, these adding these substances into your diet is not part of a nutrient-rich diet because those aren't nutrients.
Okay. Well, let's talk about nutrients, shall we? Because essentially there's like 9. If we quickly roll through.
Say again.
Let's talk about nutrients. What we mean by nutrients? You got fats, proteins, carbs. You got vitamins and minerals. You got water, fiber, and phytochemicals.
That's correct. You got health promoting protein, real food, carbohydrates, essential fats, water, fiber, vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals.
Yeah.
Some people will say enzymes as well.
Right.
But keep in mind the human body has its own enzyme system, so we're not dependent on enzymes from even whole natural foods.
Yeah. And you can even, most diets are categorized by calories alone. So essentially here you're saying take the calories and divide it by the nutrients, and that's what we mean by a nutrient-dense sort of diet. But also like the volume of food that you're taking as well. There's like a 3-dimensional approach to nutrient-rich eating, as far as I understand it.
From a nutritional point of remember, we're only talking nutrition here, which is 8.6% of the lifestyle equation. But it's a big one. It's a huge one. And you want to spend time here. That's the reason why we're spending so much time right now in the market promoting nutrient-rich eating. Okay, this is the cornerstone of the lifestyle. Get this right, and you can get all the other aspects right. So you need none of those nutrient categories, Noel, are optional. That every one of them are needed for your body to function and perform well. So as long as you're getting all of them and you're not getting those substances that your body does not need from dietary sources, you can be successful. Learning how to structure a nutrient-rich diet and getting free of the 80 to 90% of things that people do today that were installed into them by the diet industry that they don't really need to do, that's where your challenge is.
Yeah.
It's making the switch from nutrient poor to nutrient rich.
And this really is a spearhead of a whole movement that's happening right now, because this way of thinking has actually been around some time, hasn't it? 30 to 40 years almost. But the last 5 years, it really seems to be accelerating. We're really moving towards like a 90%, as you say, plant-based, organic sort of diet. Why is that happening, John?
Well, you asked a similar question earlier. This has been around since the beginning of time. Okay, people have been eating plants since the beginning of time. I mean, it's just a diet that we had most accessible to us. But over the centuries, and particularly in the last 100 to 150 years, there have been a lot of different takes on it. But with nutritional science today, we now know that it's not merely about being vegan or vegetarian or not eating meat or eating meat. It's not just about high fiber or low fiber or glycemic indexes or low fat or high fat. It's not. These are all different attributes of a nutrient-rich diet. But a nutrient-rich diet is, you don't necessarily need to be vegan or vegetarian. It's about getting the maximum amount of nutrients for the calories that you eat. It's only when you're doing that you can maximize health, optimize your weight, improve your performance, make sure that you age slower, and maximize your longevity potential. That's all a function of getting the nutrients that you need, not taking in what you don't need, and making sure that you're eating food in a state that's health promoting. So when you've got that working as part of your broader lifestyle, you're in a very good place.
Yeah, and it's this whole sort of concept of nutritional excellence as opposed to a rigid diet, which
correct.
You
rigid
and I,
diets teach you nothing.
Yeah.
Finish your thought.
It's marketing, isn't it? A rigid diet, but essentially nutritional excellence. Once you're on that way of life, that sort of lifestyle, you don't look back because, as you say, it gives you all the energy you want. It keeps the weight off. And if you're training as well, it's going to promote lean muscle mass. And we could go further, I don't know if you want to, but this whole idea that, in the future, instead of having like obese people and fat people, we may have like highly acidic people. And this whole concept of like eating like an alkaline diet and keeping our sort of diet or our pH levels, I've heard 7.36. And I've even started doing like saliva tests, John, just to sort of test my own little diet, because it does sort of remind you and train you to go more towards like a plant-based diet. Because, as you say, whether the cravings are real or not, as and when you experience them, I'm thinking, well, do I need more? Do I need to put lemon in my water? Do I need to, because I'm a guy who may grab a coffee. I'm a guy who may go and exercise for 2 hours at a time. In which case, I may need to then balance myself back again. I don't know if you just want to explore that for a minute or two.
Well, sure. When you're eating 90% or more plant-based, nutrient-rich, you are eating an alkaline diet. So alkalinity is a feature, again, of a nutrient-rich diet, like fiber or talking about some of those categories I talked about earlier, like glycemic index and load and all that kind of stuff. It's a feature of a nutrient-rich diet, but it does not define a nutrient-rich diet by itself. But certainly it's going to promote and help you maintain an alkaline environment inside your body.
Yes. And this is to do with the whole reproduction of cells, isn't it? Because literally every cell in the body is reproducing itself every 8 years. And I heard this explain that if you've got like a CD and you keep replicating it over and over again, eventually it becomes mutated. Well, you think, if you've lived to 64, your body's turned itself over 8 times already. And so it's this whole idea of maintaining the perfect cell, if you like, because what are we? We're just a collection of cells. And in doing so, not only are you living well now, but you're also, setting yourself up for, we live once, let's go for it.
Well, if you're eating an acid-promoting diet and our pH is slightly alkaline, the simple reality is that you're going to be promoting a pro-inflammatory environment that's going to promote more than just an acidic environment. It's going to promote inflammation, it's going to promote toxicity, it's going to affect your immune system, and it's going to, all in one fell swoop, be doing a whole lot of other things, negative, to your body. So we want to be eating an alkaline forming diet, and that is predominantly plant-based.
Yeah, so it's energy, it's disease, and it's maintaining the right weight, isn't it? It contributes to all of this. And, the jury's still out, but obviously this is pushing the limits as such, isn't it? Because, the nature of science, it's the best assumption we have at any one time. And
I agree with that.
And we're constantly, finding new things, and then we're coming up with a new way of looking at it. So we do need to test the barriers. We do need to look at new ways. And I think the key thing is you work with so many people now, haven't you? Can you give us some stories of people you've introduced to this way of living and the results they've had? And because that's really where it's at, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Here's what I've learned from the clients I've worked with, okay? One, people do not like to be isolated. They do not like to feel like they can't eat whatever they want. That's a psychology. It's more than an actual reality. It is more psychology, and people want to have that. They do not want to feel isolated from other segments of the population. by defining themselves by food.
Yes.
They want to make sure that they can get their needs met. They want to make sure that they can eat large volumes of food. They want that food to be great tasting, and they want to be able to live at or near their ideal weight. And how do you get all of those things? They don't want disease. They don't want to cut their life short. They want to be able to function well. This is what people want. And the reason why we promote the 90% or more plant-based, nutrient-rich, because whether a person knows anything about the difference between nutrient-rich or nutrient-poor, everybody wants nutrient-rich. They know instinctively that they need nutrients for their body to function. So that debate is over. The debates that people have are, what constitutes a nutrient-rich food, and what are all those attributes of what a truly nutrient-rich, healthy food is. And that's what we teach people. And we teach them how to structure their diet. We teach them how to build their diet into the broader lifestyle equation. But my clients all start gravitating towards their natural, gravitating towards living at or near their ideal weight. And they do it without all the struggle of dieting. Healthy eating, Noel, is not dieting. Healthy eating, learning nutritional excellence, is about getting educated and understanding how energy metabolism works, what a healthy food actually is, and how to build healthy eating into your lifestyle in a way that works.
Yeah. Now, one barrier that does come up is the expense, isn't it? That if you start eating nutrient-rich, is it a more expensive way to eat?
Nutrient-rich can be very expensive, but then so can nutrient-poor. Nutrient-poor can be very expensive. I've eaten nutrient-rich for $50 a week. I've also eaten nutrient-rich for $500 a week. It depends on whether or not food's being prepared, where you bought it from, what it is you're eating, what the whole context of the meal is. But there is absolutely, positively no factual reality that nutrient-rich eating or even organic food eating is more expensive than not. Unless you're going to venues that, just charge more.
Sure. And again, it comes back to values, doesn't it? You're buying a lifestyle, aren't you? And what value do you put on that? That you're going to look after yourself.
You just brought up the main point, Noel. But people today are developing lifestyles. Okay, they don't want to go on another program. They don't want to set themselves up for failure by incorporating ideas into their life that they can't live with for the rest of their life. And the only way that's going to happen is if you get a concept in your head for what your lifestyle really is and you start developing it. And for sure, nutrient-rich eating has got to be a component, because you cannot stay healthy and be successful eating a nutrient-poor diet. It will not allow you to function well. It will not allow you to perform well. And when that starts to happen, you're going nowhere but down.
Okay. Well, perhaps it's time to start to recap what we've covered in this call then, John, because there's been a lot of points, hasn't there? So we promised people, number one, that they would break free of the hidden variable that undermines their health and success.
And that is energy debt. If you've got to learn how to get out of energy debt, because it is the hidden variable that's undermining your health and success. If you're out of energy balance and you are spent, burnt out, you will not be able to function and perform well, and I don't care how motivated you are. Half the motivation equation is energy.
So that's where you start. It's all about energy, and then you...
All about energy.
Yeah. Number two...
What was bullet point 2?
Own your schedule and get a new perspective on your lifestyle.
That's right. We have been indoctrinated into sticking with overly structured exercise programs that do not take into consideration our energy levels, that do not take into consideration where we've been and where we're headed, often does not take into consideration our circumstances. Until you own your schedule and get into that rhythm that's going to really work for you, you'll always have a difficulty sticking to exercise programs, because it's not part of your lifestyle. You have to make it your lifestyle.
Yeah, and this is where exercise and nutrition, it fits into a far bigger picture, that you literally orientate where people are going in life, and then we start working these towards the bigger picture.
That's correct, and that's a very individualized idea.
Yeah, very much so.
Because you're the only one. You're the only one who knows your circumstances. So That's why it's key to get this mindset that we're teaching and this skill set that we're teaching, starting with nutrient-rich eating.
Yep, which is number 3. Turn on the switch to nutrient-rich eating. So, in a sentence, nutrient-rich means, if you just...
Nutrient-rich means getting the maximum amount of nutrients per calorie, not taking in those substances that your body does not need from dietary sources, and eating foods in a state that's both health-promoting and great tasting. When you get all 3 of those things right, food is a beautiful thing.
You say that like a real New Jersey guy who likes his food, so that's good. Turning on the switch to that, though, I mean, how far should people go with that? Because, you know, particularly with nutrient-rich, for a lot of people, it's quite a shock to the system, isn't it? So just elaborate on that a little bit.
Sure.
How fast can we run with that? Because
making the switch to nutrient-rich can happen in one day. It can happen instantaneously.
The decision to, yeah.
It can happen. It's more than the decision. You can actually make the switch to nutrient-rich in one day. Transitioning from nutrient-poor to nutrient-rich can take several months. There's a difference between switching and transitioning. Transitioning is where you really reorient your whole lifestyle around that quality level of food, and your body has made its adjustments. That takes more time.
Yeah, understand that. Okay, so number 4 was to stay fit no matter what.
Yeah, well, you know, here's the thing. You know, human beings are the only animals in the history of everness that ever followed exercise programs. Every other animal on the planet, it basically works out several times a day. They do it in small bursts. They're short, they're intense, and they're consistent, and they're varied. So you really never have to miss a workout. The only way you ever miss a workout is if that's your mindset and you bought into that mentality. Like, it's either I work out during this hour or else I don't work out. That's almost ridiculous. It's not even real. It's just a man-made philosophy that doesn't work, and it's great for the fitness industry because everybody feels like they need someone to get them to stick to their workout program. But frankly, you and I could work out right now while having this conversation.
Exactly.
Right?
and that's a perfect...
Could I work out right now?
Easily, we could be. We could both be on the bikes. We could be talking. You just have the cameras hooked up, couldn't we? So next time, John.
Absolutely.
Next time.
Yeah.
and that's a perfect lead on to point number 5, which the performance lifestyle is, where literally, you know, if you want to combine health, energy, and fitness and good eating all into one, this really is what you're talking about when you talk about a performance lifestyle. That you can't take anyone in isolation because you're just kidding yourself.
Absolutely. No aspect of a performance lifestyle, including eating better, getting more energy, exercise, none of these things are goals. These are proficiencies. These are lifestyle skills. And we need a mindset for managing energy and a skill set for being able to achieve our goals with our health and well-being intact. And we actually need to be clear on our goals because that's what gives you the motivation to improve the way you eat and sleep and exercise, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So none of these things are goals. The entire industry has got everybody looking in the rearview mirror, Noel. We're chasing food as a goal. Food's not a goal. It's the way that you achieve your goals. Now, how do you want to eat so that you can achieve your goals successfully? I can tell you right now, nutrient poor is not going to work.
Which, you know, your slogan is, if you want to eat, think, and live better, which I love that. I think that's great. It's a bit like the film, isn't it? Eat, Pray, and Love.
Yeah, right, it is.
Anyway. But it's great. What can people do next?
Well, the first thing that I would do in really making a dramatic improvement to your lifestyle so that you can achieve your goals better, again, goals being life, business, and sport, is I would begin making the switch to nutrient-rich eating. And here's the reason why I say that. I say that, Noel, because when you make the switch to nutrient-rich eating, it will inspire all the other changes in your life. Because in order to eat healthy, all these excuses, these excuses, which, by the way, reveal a great deal of solutions. So I'm not trying to make excuses a bad word, okay? An excuse is only a bad word when you do nothing about it and you learn nothing from it. So when you make the switch to nutrient-rich eating, you'll get faced with all kinds of stuff like, I don't have enough time, I don't have this, I don't have that, my energy's low, I'm addicted to chocolate. I mean, you'll come up with everything under the sun. And of course, most people don't know how to eat nutrient rich, so they fall for all kinds of diet traps. I would begin making the switch to rich right off the bat because it provides a starting point. In a performance lifestyle, you can start anywhere, and then you can learn the other 11 proficiencies. And the one that people face every day, 3 to 5 times a day, is eating. So make the switch to rich, and you'll inevitably need to learn another proficiency to be successful.
Okay. And your websites are, John, for people to go to?
Yes, you can go to nutrientrich.com, and I would just say, become a subscriber, and you'll automatically start getting into the flow of making the switch to rich. If you're listening to this call, and I guess they're coming through, if you're listening to this call, I'm going to get you a copy of the Nutrient Rich Way to Eat.
Yeah, and we're going to do that through my Well Coach site. And that will be
correct. You're coming through Noel. That's correct.
So that'll be Well Coach, and that's 2 L's, and then Coach Co-UK, and then it's / and then we just do JAM.HTML. That's you, John. John Allen Mollenhauer, and that's .html. We'll leave it there for people. Yeah, how's that?
That sounds great. We'll leave it there, and we'll make sure that you get a copy of the Nutrient Rich Way to Eat, and just start this process. At the end of the day, Noel. This is about learning how to live a healthy lifestyle successfully. And the only way you can do that is by focusing on how you function and perform well so that you can achieve your goals. In order for your body to function and perform well, you've got to be eating nutrient-rich for starters.
Got it. And that leads on to your nutritional transition system, which if you just...
Yes. Once you learn the nutrient-rich way to eat, we have what's called the nutrition transition system. Quick backstory is that most people have they've bought into the broader nutrition transition in the wrong direction. They've gone from relatively healthy diets, relatively, not the best, not entirely nutrient rich, but more natural diets at the start of this century, to really nutrient poor, nutrient barren diets today. We call this the nutrition transition system because we don't want you to start eating a diet that goes back to the way things were 100 years ago. We want you to eat the healthiest, most nutrient-rich diet that we know of today, so that you can begin getting all those benefits we talked about earlier. So we've put together a whole system that gives you all the lifestyle guides you need to make the switch to rich and the nutrition transition successfully.
Okay, so to finish up, John, tell us about the own gains you yourself made that you mentioned in an email to me just these last few months, just by literally, you learn it, you live it, then you teach it.
That's right, and it's been quite a learning curve. I went to the next level. I call it the next level in healthy eating. Healthy eating, Noel, is not enough because you can still be systemically overeating, even eating nutrient rich.
Of course.
The real key to success, with nutrient-rich eating, is eating when you're hungry. And I went through a stressful time period where for a period of time, I wasn't eating when I was hungry. I was just eating. And I rationalized it to say, hey, I'm eating nutrient-rich. Whoopee, right?
Yeah.
And the simple reality is I gained weight.
Yeah. And it's the same with exercise. A lot of people do more exercise only to eat more because they think, well, it's okay, I'm exercising, I can eat this.
Right, and the purpose of exercise is not to lose weight. The purpose of exercise is to get fit.
To feel good after.
So the only way you can actually eat, exactly your point. The only way you can actually lose weight naturally, and the only way that you can actually eat when you're truly hungry is to have it be nutrient rich. So just in the last, I'd say maybe the last 4 months, with no dieting whatsoever, I've taken off 30. Really taken my whole body to a new level.
Fantastic. So once more then, that link is wellcoach, co-uk, / small letters, JAM.HTML, and that's your nutrient-rich system for people to start off with and get an introduction, and it is but an introduction to the performance lifestyle as a whole.
That's correct. That's correct.
Fantastic. It's been good speaking to you, John. I appreciate your time.
Great talking to you, Noel. I love you, buddy. You are a really good guy.
Well, likewise, because we're gonna take this. You keep taking this forwards, don't you? And I love
we're doing it together. You and me, we're doing it together.
I love the conversations that we have because we just sort of spark each other into bigger and better things, really. So,
Sure
likewise,
so.
John. So, right, you have a great day.
You too, Noel.
Cheers.
Take care, everyone.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye everyone. So.